Hello, everyone. Let's get started. This week, I just wanted to ask you guys a whole bunch of questions. So, are you or your animals stressed out about traveling? Does your dog get anxious when your guests arrive? Does your cat hide in fear as soon as you pull out the cat carrier? If you can answer yes to any of these questions, you are in the right place. And stay with me as we find fear-free solutions to all of these situations and more. So if you have any of those going on with you right now, let us know in the comments. Let us know how you, what's going on. If you have other issues going on with your animals, please let me know around the holidays. So let's get started. Fear-free is about reducing fear, anxiety, and stress in everything we do for and with our animal companions. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming holidays. So whether we're traveling this year or not, whether we're inviting guests into our home or not, we're probably going to be making some changes in our home to celebrate the holidays. And a lot of these changes, even small changes, can be stressors for our animals. They don't understand what's going on. So what are some of the stressors that may happen that may increase their fear, anxiety, and stress? So it could be simple things like hanging up the stockings, or having candles, or having the Christmas tree in your home, and having lights and tinsel and streamers all over and decorating. So, and even the wreaths, that everything smells different and new. So even rearranging the furniture can be hard. So let's say we need to move the furniture around to put up the tree. We need to take all the things off of the countertop to make room for the Hanukkah menorah. And let's say that's normally a place where your cat loves to hang out and look out the window. And now we're taking that space away to make room for candles. And candles are common for all of the festive winter holidays. So we want to make sure that our animals are safe when we put up all of these extra decorations. So what can we do to help them? What do you do for your animals? Let me know in the comments below, wherever you're watching this. Let us know what you do to keep your animals safe during the holiday season. And while you do that, I'm going to tell you my top 5 reasons, tips for this week. Okay, so let's go. Here we go. The first one I want to share with you is to prepare ahead of time. What does that mean? That means that when you come home this weekend and you pull out all of those boxes that you've been storing in your basement or attic or storage unit, that you use to get ready for the holidays, and you start decorating all at once, that is overwhelming, not just for us, but also for our animals. So if there's a way for you to just do a box at a time, or to spread it out over a few days, that would be really helpful for our animals, just to give them that extra time to understand what's going on. Sometimes when we start going into our storage unit, we're also pulling out suitcases, and that can stress out our animals too, because traveling, whether we leave them at home or we take them with us, they get stressed out when they see those suitcases sometimes. So just keep that in mind when you're taking out all of these boxes that have been in storage all year. So to prepare that, we can also do things like prepare food puzzles and enrichment for your animals for when you're going to be decorating, and also when you're going to have guests over. So you can use something like this, a licky mat or a Kong, a Babolat. There's all different types of enrichment that we can give to our animals to encourage them to feel safe while there's changes going on. So that's another idea for you about preparing ahead of time. The other thing, and I know I've mentioned this before when I talk about keeping our dogs safe, is to block the entryway, especially from our dogs greeting people at the door. So you can do that by asking our guests to call and call or text you when they're on their way, so that you can have your dog in a safe space away from the entryway. The biggest concern about having your dog greet your guests at the door is that they're going to sneak out. And so in order to prevent that, let's keep them away from greeting our guests at the door. So that's another way to prepare ahead. The second thing I wanted to talk about with you is about the cat carrier. So the cat carrier or the dog carrier, sometimes the animals are really scared of those. And the easiest way to make them not as scared is to make it a part of your home. So take that cat carrier out of your storage area, dust it off, and put it in a common space in your home. Make it a really wonderful, safe space for your cat to hang out in during the day. When you're home, when you're not home, leave the door open and let them find a way to make that comfortable. So when you need to take them somewhere, they feel safe in that space. So that's my second thing that I want to talk to you about. The next tip I wanted to give to you guys is about pet proofing. And what does that mean? So we're going to put these trees and lights and candles all over our house. We're also going to have extra food on the counters, whether you're cooking for 20 people or 2 people. There will be extra food in your home. I guarantee it. It is winter. We are storing up. We have food all over the place in our homes right now, thankfully. And so what we want to do is make sure that that food is in a safe space away from our animals so that they don't get into it. So we want to keep everything away off the countertops and make sure that everyone stays safe, and you can keep your animals out of the kitchen if possible. The other thing too is that we may use our dining room for the first time in months, right? So that's a new space. So maybe that's a space where normally your cat likes to hang out, or your dog is like, wait a minute, that table's a little lower than the kitchen table or the kitchen counter where you normally eat, so it's easier access. So just think about that when you're putting food on the counters to make sure your animals stay safe and away from that. So that was another thing I wanted to talk about. The last thing is about electrical cords. I want to just say this one more time, especially cats who love wires and cords and things like that, and even some dogs do too, especially a new puppy in your home. Make sure that the new cords you're adding are hiding from the animals. So if that means putting up, like I mentioned before, an X-pen, something to surround that area where the cords are, anything like that to keep them feeling safe, so you feel secure. So we want to make sure that our animals are safe, like I keep talking about. We're going to try to set you all up for success so we don't have any issues. So the fourth tip I wanted to give to you guys is about providing that safe space for your dogs and cats. So whether it's confining your cats to a safe room in your home, what you do is, if you set it up so that they have their food, their water, their litter box, and they also have a place to hang out, whether it's to look out the window or a nice cozy bed for them, a place to hide in that room, so that they don't necessarily, unless you have the most friendly social cat in the world, the cat doesn't necessarily need to be in the middle of the party. So they would prefer to be in a safe space. So let's give them that and lower their anxiety. So that's for the cats. Make sure that your dogs also aren't jumping all over your guests. If that means you tether them to you, great. Get a leash, wrap it around your waist, and have them near you. You can also, again, prepare these puzzle toys, something that they can enjoy while your guests are there. And then the last thing I want to talk about today, the last tip, is about giving them calming supplements, medication as prescribed. So if your animals do take any type of anti-anxiety medication, please make sure you have talked to your veterinarians and have the prescriptions on hand before the holidays start. So check out your medicine cabinet, make sure that those are all up to date and ready. Some supplements that I often suggest are things like an Adaptil calming collar. So my dog Jilly, she wears one, and I have it sent every month. It gets sent to my home, and I put a new one on her every month. An Adaptil calming collar, or the Adaptil travel spray, and this is great. I love using this. I use this when I go to clients' homes for training purposes. I spray it on myself. You can also spray it on bedding. Basically, the pheromones is a synthetic pheromone that simulates the pheromones that the mom is producing for their puppies when they're young. So it makes them feel safe and secure. So that's for the dogs, and they also make one called Feel Away for cats, and it does the same thing. And so those are something that I often suggest for people to use. You can spray this on bedding. You can spray this in their crates, their travel crates before you go somewhere. You can put it sprayed in your car before you go on a car trip, things like that. The other thing that you could try too is something called like a CBD oil. This is, the brand is Pet Relief, and there's a bunch out there on the market. So do some research, ask me for questions about it. Those are another way that we can help calm them. And along with having guests over or changing our furniture and decorations, the other thing that is coming up at the end of the year is New Year's Eve. And as we all know, it's going to be a little different this year. And so there aren't going to be as many large gatherings and firework displays in the cities and stuff. However, I have a feeling that there's going to be plenty of fireworks in our very own neighborhoods. And that stresses our animals out a lot. They don't understand it. And personally, I don't really understand it either. The noise is just too much for me. I'm pretty sensitive to the noise, and so I prefer to stay away. I like the colors. I don't necessarily need the noise. So for the dogs, they don't know what is going on, and we want to make sure that they are prepared. So again, make sure you have your supplements in place. If you have prescriptions, talk to your vet. If you want to set up some, toys and games for them, you can have the puzzle toys ready for them and give them a safe space. Turn on some music, some low, soft music, close the blinds, and just hunker down for the night with them and make them feel safe. So I just wanted to mention that all of these things can, help alleviate the fear, anxiety, and stress in our animals. And as you all know, my goal is to set you and your animals up for success. So with that, I just want to thank you all for joining me this week to talk about how to keep our holidays fear-free. Check out the rest of our videos on Paw Prints University's YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook group and Instagram. And here at Paw Prints University, our mission is to provide tools for you and your animal companions to bond and be successful in and outside of your home. And we aspire to reduce fear, anxiety, and stress by offering rewards-based training models that take everyone from chaos to calm. So next week, before I go, I just want to say we're going to be talking about nutrition. We're gearing up for Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to have a wonderful meal, I hope, with either family or alone or however we're going to do it. We can all get together virtually for a meal. Sounds wonderful. Either way, we want to make sure that our animals are getting the proper nutrition, and I'm going to give you guys some great ideas on how we can incorporate some healthy eating choices for our animals too. So with that, have a great week, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.